He's being a little goofball. As I'm talking, no, no, as I'm talking to you on the phone, he's talking to me in the headset, and I'm hearing some of his goofy little lines he's popping out of things I say, and he being a little dirt ball.
Just so everybody knows,
That's
before
right,
before
dirty
we
dirt.
before we
That's
get
right.
going with the broadcast today, Chris is talking to his daughter on the phone right now, so I figured I'd just share this with everybody.
Hold on, huh? You're on speaker now. Tell him stranger danger, stranger danger.
Stranger danger!
There you go.
Stranger danger!
That's the right thing to say. Yes, it
That's
is.
the right thing right there. Never trust anybody from the Midwest.
Well, I'm from Ohio, so whatever.
You're watching NCIS? Yeah, you might see Brian on there. He'll be on Ducky's operating table.
Jesus Christ.
My friend from Kansas.
Jesus
Yeah
Christ.
way. He'll never be in there.
That's funny.
Well, you're being funny.
Jesus Christ.
Yes, you are. She says, "No, I'm not." Okay, maybe I am, but I'm not laughing at my own self. You're a goof. Yes, you are crazy, but you're my daughter. It's allowed.
Your daughter, you don't want to be eating a pickle.
How is? Yeah, I got work tomorrow too. Yes, you do. I thought you liked fourth grade. I just realized something. The little punk boys got us on the 5 minute warning on the video. It's actually playing what my conversation. You a dick.
Just so everybody knows how good of a father Christopher Stolle
Brian, I'm gonna get even.
is. Uh huh. This is just so everybody knows Chris Stolle is a great father.
What was that, Jaden?
I said, no, man. It's showing chicken nuggets and burgers and everything on the TV.
Oh. Well,
Yummy.
what was that beforehand? You were doing raspberries?
No?
Yes, you were.
Nuh-uh.
Do a big raspberry for Brian.
Nuh-uh. Nuh-uh.
Go ahead. Give him a.
Oh, there it was.
That sounded juicy.
Boy, if I had a nickel.
That sounded juicier.
That sounded juicier, yeah. Oh, she starts kindergarten, right? Uh-oh. Amber, next week. Yep. But Jaden, can I let you go? I got to have this conversation with Brian. I give you a call back later or talk to you tomorrow? Yeah. Yeah. All right, I love you. Bye. You, sir, are an asshole.
Yes, I am. You ready to get this show on the road, bud?
Oh, I think the show's already started.
All right, well, let's hit that intro, shall we? Let's get it going.
It takes one to know one.
It does.
I'm rubbering your glue.
Oh, man, it's going to be a fun episode.
Fucking pickle juice.
Fucking pickle juice. You know Did you know Sonic's doing a pickle juice slushy now?
Yes, I know.
Yeah,
That's what I was referencing when you turned around and made it
Yep.
dirty.
Well, hey, we are live, bud.
Hey,
Yeah,
what's
live.
up, guys? Welcome to Breaking the Fourth Wall live on Twitch TV and, of course, heard around the world on RadioCastFM.com. That is .com. I am your host, Chris Dolly, and with me, as always, is the left nut that hangs lower than the right nut, Mr. Brian Miller.
Wait, you only have two? What about the one in the middle?
The one in the middle?
Yeah, you don't have one in the middle?
He only does his podcast once a month. Hi, John. All right, there's no itinerary to the show today. There's one subject, one topic of conversation, and I feel there's got to be a disclaimer. By the way, I do really dig the little setup there.
Do you?
I do. That's pretty neat.
Right on. It's just a quick
Pretty
throw
cool.
together. I'm gonna refine it and everything and get it.
Now,
looking
does
a
it
little
switch?
better,
Does it switch from big camera to big camera? Like when you're talking, I'll go down to the little box. You'll be in the big box.
yeah, hang on just a second. I just switched it over so you could see.
Okay.
But you'll see here in a sec. It's just a little bit of a delay, not bad.
Okay, I see it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, guys, we are live on Twitch TV. Like I said, I got to throw a little disclaimer here. It's not a spoiler, but it's a disclaimer. On Breaking the Fourth Wall for the past 4 seasons, we have had one specific rule: no politics. It would be strictly entertainment and entertainment-based, no politics. Well, Facebook ruined that shit for me yesterday, so this is the episode today where a lot of shit is going to get aired. It's probably going to piss a lot of people off. Here's your trigger warning.
Oh, I
I
wish you would have said that because I could have made one.
Well, if you're going to make one, make it the Chris don't give a fuck warning. Because I
good.
don't give a fuck.
That's good. Fair enough.
Plain and simple, we're gonna be airing some issues tonight, and don't expect this to be something that happens often, but Breaking the Fourth Wall is about to go. It had to be said. Because I am well. All right, Brian, you know the details of what's got me pissed off. I'll let you start before I really get into any ranting or raving. Get some shit off your chest.
All right. Well, how far into this do you want to go? Because
Go. I don't care.
Just
Throw
go?
fucking
All right.
fucking names. First and foremost,
Okay.
fuck you.
you say
what
the name because I
fuck
don't
is
remember
your
the name.
Zuckerberg. Mark Zuckerberg. Fuck you, Mark
Oh, for
Zuckerberg.
Facebook? Okay.
Yeah. I'll start off right off with that, but I'll throw motherfuckers under the bus. Matt Dunbar, you're a fucking punk ass bitch.
Damn.
Go ahead, Brian.
Damn. Okay, so now that you got, you popped the top, the fizz is all over the place. Now it's time to let the juice out of the wine bottle, right?
That's right.
Okay, so here's the deal. Yesterday, Chris got put into Facebook jail for 24 hours because the liberals at Facebook couldn't handle some of the comments that he made that some other liberal, I guess, reported him for that had nothing to do with anything at all as to why he was blocked. So I saw the conversation myself. I even joined in on it. I liked some comments on it. And I can vouch for Chris here. I'm not just saying this because we're podcast buddies and coworkers, but no, I'm serious. You said nothing wrong. There was nothing out of the blue whatsoever that just did not fit the guidelines, I guess you could say, for Facebook. I know there are some people saying, Facebook has the right to block certain things, but Facebook has gone public. So it's literally a medium of which we can it's a freedom of speech. It's a First Amendment platform now. You can say whatever the hell you want to say on it,
There's a couple rights that were violated. One is freedom of speech,
Yeah.
and the other one is the right to defend myself.
Yeah.
I didn't start this argument. I posted a meme. He started his shit.
Yeah.
I defended myself, and I get labeled hate speech for defending myself.
Mm-hmm.
That's the topic of conversation I want to get into is who the fuck put Mark Zuckerberg or anybody, any of their little punk asses at Facebook and Silicon Valley and fucking, waste of fucking space California, the fucking police Nazis to turn around and tell me what I can or cannot say, what is or is not fucking socially acceptable.
Right.
I don't fucking care about your feelings. I don't care about if I offend you or I steal your safe space. I don't give a shit. Your life will still go on regardless of what I said.
Yeah.
My life still goes on whether or not you're offended. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah. See, okay, before we really get into this, I feel like we need, because I mean, for anybody who might be tuning in for the first time to us, like you said earlier, we don't usually go political on this at all, right? Usually this is just about music, movies, comics, games, stuff like that. That's usually what breaking the fourth wall is. But this is something we needed to talk about. And before we really get into it, I think everybody needs to kind of understand where Chris and I stand on the political spectrum. Before, like, as far as, I mean, Chris and I are pretty much at the exact same spot. What would you consider yourself on the spectrum as far as conservative?
I'm right of center.
Right of center.
I agree more with conservative views than I do liberal views, but there are some liberal views. Well, I don't like to use the term liberal.
Right.
Some Democratic points of view that I can actually get behind and agree with. Mm-hmm. None recently.
Right.
But back in the day where, Democrats actually lived by the motto, I may not agree with what you say, but I'll defend your right to say it.
Right.
Those types of left ideals I actually had agreements with.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I call myself just right of center.
Mm-hmm. Well, see, and I would consider, I guess, mine a little further right than yours. I was always raised to, you work for everything you have. Nobody gets a free handout for anything. If you don't have the money for it, you don't get it. You pay your bills first before you play. If there's no money to play, you don't play. That's the way I was always raised. My dad really instilled that in me as a person, and as I grew up and kind of formed who I am and kind of my identity, I've realized I'm like, pretty, I don't want to say extreme right, but I'm pretty far leaning right? So let's just throw that out there first, right?
Well, let's put it this way. You and I are not too far apart in that aspect, because I mean, I grew up in a middle class family. A grandfather, my father passed away before I was not before I was born. I was 6 months old. But my mother was in the Coast Guard. My grandfather was ex-military and then deputy sheriff. And it was a modest family, modest living. I didn't always get everything I wanted. I wasn't spoiled or anything else, even though I was an only child, which most people automatically assume. Only child, you were spoiled. No, I wasn't. I was taught at an early age. Like, the best story I can give you is my grandfather, when I was 11 years old, was when the original 8-bit Nintendo first came out. And I told him I really wanted the Nintendo. And he said, okay, hold on a minute. And he went into the bedroom. I'm like, holy shit, my grandfather got me a Nintendo. He came out with an old wooden box. Mm-hmm. It was a shoe shining box. He gave it to me and said, $1 shine, get to it. That was my upbringing. You want something, go work for it.
Yep. That was the same as mine, yeah. Well, see, like, very, very similar story. When I was a kid, I wanted a Game Boy. Like, Game Boy Colors were a big thing when I was a kid, right? And I had to mow yards. You know what I mean? And then just, my dad, what he did was he got a, like one of those plastic containers you get Kool-Aid mixed in. It's already got the sugar and shit mixed with it. He got one of those and he cut a slit in the top. He left the wrapper on it, but he cut the slit on the top and he emptied all the powder out. And then that was my money jug. I just kept putting my lawn money into it. And, and he would know if I got into it because if the seal had been broken, right? So that was his way of doing like a sealed piggy bank where you could keep track of what was in it. Mm-hmm. And I seriously, I cut grass all summer, and I mean, back then Game Boys were like $70 and a game was $30, so you needed like $100 to get a game and a Game Boy, right? And I was keeping track of how much money I had, and finally one day I was like, Dad, I think I have enough money in there to get a Game Boy. And he's like, well, let's crack it open and find out. And we cracked it open, and sure enough, I went to Walmart that night and I bought a Game Boy, and it meant more to me, you know what I mean? Because I earned it. And my sister, she got hers for Christmas, and she ended up like trashing it, dude. Like, it just, she didn't earn hers, like mine meant more to me. That was my first lesson of really working for what you get, and I can't now, like, we live in a time now where I cannot stand watching people say, oh, because you have more than me, you need to give me what you have, half of what you have. No, fuck no. Fuck you. You could just get I mean, seriously, really? So, I mean, that's that's really one of the main reasons and one of the main staples of why I'm, on the right side. I've got friends that are, left and moderate left, even some that are far left. Like my buddy Buster, every time we see each other very rarely. He's one of my best friends. He's a Democrat, and every time we see each other, very briefly, he always has to ask. We always bring up some political topic to debate, and but we're still friends, like we're still friends. We don't degrade each other because we have difference of opinion. You know what I mean? And that's the way I feel like it's supposed to be in this country, where if you don't have and I think as far as which side is which, the right side seems to have the more tolerant attitude towards other opinions. Yeah, we don't agree with them, but we're not trying to shut everybody up. We do shut everybody up when we present facts and disprove what they're saying, and they tend to go run and hide. That's the only way it is. We don't delete them. You know what I mean? And deny them being able to say their piece. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So what happened with your Facebook post? What was the meme anyway? Because the meme said something about Molly Tibbetts, right?
Yeah, it was about the Molly Tibbetts murder, and it was about if Molly Tibbetts was killed with by a white guy with an AR-15.
Yeah.
The left would have been rioting in the fucking streets, but because she was killed by an illegal, absolute silence.
Right.
And to which I got a couple comments from people that view things the same way you and I do, that were fine with it, and stuff of that nature, agreed with the sentiment. And then Matt Dunbar jumps on and doesn't even offer any argument to opposition. He just proceeds to call me an idiot, a moron, self-centered, self-minded, egotistical, whatever.
The word stupid was thrown in there.
Stupid. It's just throwing me straight under the bus with as many
and keep in mind, this is the
adjective insults that he could give me.
Keep in mind, this is the tolerant side of the aisle. This is the one that preaches tolerance and love, and and keep that in mind also.
And stuff of that nature. And I proceeded to call him on his bullshit. I told him straight out what he is and who he's always been in life. A leech, a mooch, somebody who has ridden the coattails of other people his whole entire life, and is probably, and I may have crossed the line in when I turned around and said that he's probably doing that to his wife now. Because, since I've known the guy, he was always single, and then he moved to Ohio and got married and has kids. And I imagine he's leeching off of them just like he did his buddies back in Colorado. And
I hate moochers.
And
which seems to be the which, by the way, not to interrupt you, which seems to be the staple of the left. Just saying.
Well, that's the point. He's a democratic socialist.
Yeah.
He proceeded to try to remind me of the fact that I at one time lived in the basement of the house that he lived at because his roommate allowed me a place to stay when I lost my place to live. The difference between him and I is I moved out, got back on my own 2 feet, got a job. And during that was why the reminder, it's like, I've done more in my lowest points of my life than you will ever achieve. At the time, I was still wrestling. I was a musician. I was still bringing money in. You know what I mean? Like, but I needed a place to stay, and his roommate, whose name was Tim, I don't remember his last name, but whose name was Tim, who I'm to this day still eternally grateful, helped me out. And through that help, I was able to get back on my own 2 feet. That's not mooching. That's somebody giving a hand when a hand was needed.
Yeah.
Mooching, the difference between mooching and needing help is you accept the help while you build yourself to get back on your own 2 feet and get on with your life out of the other person's life.
Right.
You don't stay there forever.
Right. Well,
and ever.
See, some of the, and those comments were made, right, back and forth. And I guess, I don't know if he reported you or if Facebook just happened to see it and was like, nah, fuck this. But Chris got put in Facebook jail for 24 hours because of it. Because he texted me and said, "Hey, hang on, I can read you." Well, no, I got the Twitch pulled up my phone. But he texted me and told me, "Hey, I'm in Facebook jail. I can see posts, but I can't comment, can't post, can't even use Messenger." And I'm like, "Well, are you fucking serious? Like, really? That's just, I mean, because I've been in Facebook jail before too. I mean, almost every conservative on this planet has, right? So,
Right.
Here's the problem, right? So, the left, right? So let me lay it out to you the way I'm seeing it and the way Chris is seeing it. And this is probably going to piss a lot of people off, but this is just our opinion. We're not right, we're not wrong. You're not right, you're not wrong if you disagree. It's just, this is our opinion, right? At least my opinion. I think I can speak for Chris. Let me know. Let me know afterwards.
Twitch.tv/Realm the Mist Entertain. The chat is open.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to disagree and you want to debate, have at you. Keep it respectful. That's the only rule. Keep it respectful.
Yeah.
No trolls, no name calling. You want to debate, I will have a spirited debate with you. Brian will have a spirited debate with you. We'll exchange ideas and points of view. I have no problem with it whatsoever. This is a completely open forum.
Mm-hmm.
Please come talk to us.
Oh, absolutely. All right, so
Anyway.
So the way the right sees the left is as hypocrites. They believe in rules, but they don't apply to them. They apply to everybody else but themselves. This is just the way the right sees the left. They want everybody else's stuff. They want them to work for it. They don't like capitalism, but they want everybody else to work so that they can have what they worked for, right? But capitalism is bad. You can't work for your money. So literally nothing the left really talks about or even preaches makes sense at all. Like, let's take this Molly Tibbetts thing, for instance, right? I believe the comment that was made during the Facebook thread was that he posted a picture of Molly Tibbetts' mother, posted a response saying she didn't want her child's name to be used as a slanderous excuse for illegal immigrants to be kicked out of the country. Nothing like that, right? She wanted her name taken out of it completely. And most of the left is jumping on that bandwagon, right? And like, well, you can't stand on her name, right? Okay, but at the exact same time,
finish what the quote was. It was don't blame the fact that he was an illegal immigrant.
Oh,
it was the fact
man.
that he was. It was because of the fact that he suffered from toxic masculinity. This was not an illegal immigrant issue. This was a men art issue.
Yeah, right. So let me put it to you this way, right? If you're on the left side of the aisle, I am open to a debate with you. You've got the comment section, or I'm watching it. You can't tell the right that you can't stand on the grave of one girl to deport illegal aliens when every time there's a fucking school shooting, the left is standing on the graves of dead children to have guns taken away. You cannot fucking have one and not the other. It's either both or neither. You need to pick a fucking side, pick which way you want to go with it, and fucking run with it. You can't have one and not the fucking other.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I'm saying.
Oh, speaking of, they keep quiet when it's against them. Did you hear about the shooting down in
Jacksonville?
Florida?
Yeah,
Jacksonville.
Yeah.
The Madden video game tournament.
Mm-hmm.
Turns out the kid
guy was an
did
anti-Trump.
He was an anti-Trump, total democratic socialist, far left supporter who threw a hissy fit because he lost at a video game. Now understand
that right there sums up the left.
Understand, Realm of the Mist Entertainment, all of it revolves around entertainment, whether it's movies, music, video games. I mean, we have a goddamn show on called fucking Press A Gaming, which is nothing but Let's Plays and video games. And yes, you'll catch me raging every so often on those games. But I ain't going out and shooting nobody because I got my ass kicked in a fucking video game.
Which happens a lot, just so you know.
Yeah. All right, this is the mentality. This is the left. This is how the right sees the left. That is a perfect example. And I hate pointing that out because it's a tragic fucking thing that some spoiled fucking brat felt that because he lost at a video game, that he had the right to end other people's existence.
That's what happens when you raise a kid and you give him a participation trophy for every fucking thing he does. That is exactly what fucking happens. Balls to fucking bone. That right there is why if you don't win, you don't get a fucking trophy.
Mm-hmm.
You
You
know?
get a you know what you get. You know what losers get something when you participate in sports or spelling bees or whatever the case may be. Anything that has a form of competition. The winners get the trophies and the accolades. You know what the losers get? Life lessons.
Exactly. Yep.
And these kids, these leftists, are not getting life lessons. They think everything's supposed to be handed to them, hand and foot.
Yep.
Now, again, you go back in the day of the original Democrats. I call them original because
back then they were actually halfway respectable. I mean,
they were respected.
Yeah.
I didn't always agree with their points of view,
yeah,
but
same.
they were respectful when they delivered them, and they were willing to have an open dialogue about points of view, as opposed to turning around saying you either believe what I believe or you're a fucking racist, misogynist piece of shit.
Yep.
Look, I have no problems with immigrants. I have problems with illegal immigrants. The same way as I don't have a problem with every person walking up and down the street in my neighborhood, but I do have a problem with them walking in my fucking house.
Yep.
When they're not invited.
One of my favorite things that people do, and you see these videos on Facebook all the time, is when people go out and they start asking kids on college campuses, what do you think of this policy? What do you think of this quote? What do you think of this and this? And it's all stuff that like Obama did, that Clinton did, but they're telling them that it's stuff Trump's doing. And they're like, oh, I hate that. I hate that. Or if they go the opposite way and they tell them stuff Trump's doing and they say Obama did it, and they're like, oh, yeah, that's great. I love that. And they're like, but you don't like Donald Trump. No, the guy's a piece of shit. It's like, you don't even know what the fuck you're talking about. You don't even take the time to go fucking educate yourself. You're just jumping on bandwagons because your gender studies professor fucking told you to. That's the only fucking reason. And, that's the other problem. Like, I'm going to go there. I'm going to go.
Go ahead.
Gender studies is not a fucking major, man.
Well,
and
look,
people think it is. People take gender studies to get fucking laid in college. That's all it is. And
look, I'll go further. And I will say it straight out. And you know what? I'm not even going to say it's Brian's point of view, although I think he'll absolutely agree with me. And understand, in Realm of the Mist Entertainment, we have friends and co-workers who are people who are gay, people who are straight, people who are trans.
Yep.
But the statement still stands. Stupid ass fucking ladies, lesbian, dance fucking study professional. There is only two genders. Yeah. Get it out your head. Fucking an aeroplane is not a gender. It may be a preference. That's fine. I don't care if you have a preference to fuck sheep on a Thursday night while dressed up as the Dalai Lama. If that's your thing, cool for you, but it is not a fucking gender.
Yeah.
Get it out your head. All right? You are either male or you were either born. I'll go this far. You are either born male or female. What you choose to become after that fact is your choice. But that is the only two genders that exist in science. Period. The end of discussion.
Well,
you either have an extra Y fucking chromosome or you don't.
Yeah.
The end.
And I know whenever I bring this up, it's gonna trigger Chris. I know it's going to, because I fucking know. And I'm ready for it, because I'm just gonna say it, and then I'm gonna switch back to where his camera is the big one and just let him rip.
Oh boy.
And you've got all these different like Chris was talking about, these sexual preferences where, oh, well, they like that or they like that. Pedosexual is not a fucking thing.
Oh my
God. Pedophilia is a fucking mental disorder. That's not a goddamn. It's not just it's not a preference. What the fuck? Like, you know what, Chris? Go for it, because I've seen some posts you've put on Facebook about this, and you need to let it rip.
All right. Pedophilia.
He didn't know I was going to bring that up.
No, I didn't. So give me a second here as I'm collecting my thoughts here.
Good. You're good.
Because that's a subject that hits very, very close to home for me. I won't go into details. People who know me,
don't
know me personally, know that I have dealt with unfortunate instances that happen to people I care very much for.
Right.
And it hits very close to home.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a sexual preference.
Nope.
It's not in any way, shape, or form. There is nothing natural about loving a young child. Okay, I could be forgiving. I could be forgiving of looking at, especially nowadays with the way girls and some guys look, at a early teenage or something like that, where they look like they're older. That you say, oh, that's kind of cute, that's kind of hot, and then you find out how old they are, and it's like, oh, nope. I get that. That's a little different. That's mistaken identity.
Yeah.
But when you're purposely going, especially for prepubescent or even younger children, you're a fucking deviant. You're a fucking pervert.
Yeah.
All right, and I know I'm going to get yelled at by AV for this episode because I'm dropping the F-bomb every 2 seconds, and I apologize, AV, but this shit needs to be said. You are a fucking waste of sperm and eggs. Somebody should have rubbed you off into a fucking sock and then threw you away with the rest of the garbage and filth. You are a sick piece of shit. You do not deserve any rights. You do not deserve life in any way, shape, or form. And I don't care if you label me as hate speech for it, because you know what? That's my major problem with the fucking extreme left today. When you're sitting there with the LGBTQ, which I don't have a problem with gays, lesbians, trans people, but when you're sitting there and trying to normalize something that's disgusting as fucking pedophilia, I have a major issue. And I promise you, when that war comes against the pedophiles being normalized, I will be the first one in the front row.
Yeah.
Fucking sickos.
Yeah. You're right. You all right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Just making sure. But no, it's like every year they're adding a new letter to that. The LGBTQ, like every year they add a new fucking letter to it, and it's like what's next year? Oh, I'm sexually attracted to semi trucks. Like what the fuck? Just because you jerked off with a cantaloupe when you were fucking 13 does not mean you're attracted to fucking cantaloupes. All right. I'm just saying, but anyway, but yeah,
no,
but but it speaks to what makes the left, right? They just want, like, they keep talking about how they want everybody to live their own life and to be able to do whatever they want to do and choose to be whoever they want to be, unless you're a gun-toting, flag-flying, God-loving conservative.
All right, well, since we're going there, let's fuck it, we're throwing it all on the board. Originally, the whole entire reason I wanted to do this episode, I'll say it straight out, the major reason I wanted to do this episode is that the way it tied into entertainment is I wanted to talk about how the social medias, let's face it, social media is a form of entertainment. I mean, you're going to be watching this on YouTube and Patreon here in a couple minutes. Well, not a couple minutes. You are watching this now on Patreon or YouTube if you're not already with us live on Twitch TV right now. You're going to be watching this video on one of those platforms. That's a social media. You're doing it for entertainment. And we're dropping some truth on you right now, but it's a form of entertainment. But to think that their guidelines or policies, which back in the day when this shit first started was fine, okay, we don't want pornography. Makes sense. Because there's going to be teenagers or whatever else on here that don't need to be exposed to that. Makes perfect fucking sense. Mm-hmm. Maybe we don't want a whole lot of F-bombs dropped because, younger ears are sensitive to people like my mother. My mother, it's kind of funny growing up in a military family. My mother is abhorrent to vulgar language. So that's just a respect factor. I curb my language for her because she's my mom and she asked me not to curse so much, so I get that. So those types of guidelines make sense, but I really wanted to talk about how there's this God complex with these social media developers and let's put it this way, the social media Gestapo, who turn around and tell you what you can or cannot post, what you can or cannot say, how you can or cannot think. Mm-hmm. And if you do not follow their guidelines, which are heavily tainted left wing, then they will punish you. I don't have an issue with the fact, with me being in Facebook jail for 24 hours. I don't have an issue with the...
Keep talking, go ahead. Chris. Keep talking real quick.
Go ahead. I don't have an issue with the fact that I was put in Facebook jail for 24 hours. What I have a problem with is that I was the only one who was. He was spewing out just as much quote-unquote hate as I was, but he wasn't punished. I was. Where's the justice in that? Because I said something that hurt his feelings? Or is it because I said something that was too conservative for them? Because my point of view and my statement conflicted with their propaganda and the way they want you to think and feel. That's the problem. That's the difference. And that's what I have a major issue with and wanted to have a conversation mostly about on here. But we're heading in opposite direction, and that's fine. We can head in opposite direction. We can talk about a lot of different shit. And I'm going to wait for Brian to drop the next one that's going to be there. I'm going to wait for Brian to – okay, Brian's back.
What's up?
You know, as much as I
had to go bring my flag in.
No, it's fine. I have an issue, like I said, you know, with social medias and stuff like that, having this God complex where they could tell you what to think or feel. And like I said, with the Facebook banning that I took, you know, I wouldn't care if both of us would have gotten banned, because both of us could have been construed as hate speech or out of line. But the fact that only I was punished and he was let go, like nothing was wrong, just literally shows my point. My point is that they policed me because my political point of view was different from what they want to push in their propaganda. And we can hit on that. But obviously this episode decided to take a special turn. I'll ride that fucking wave. Since we're talking about shit the left does that pisses me off to no end, I'm looking at every single one of my friends that are people of color who are on the left. Because I've got people of color friends on the right that are, you know, way different.
Yeah.
Stop with the white privilege. Stop with blaming white American-born males. It is not my fault that you didn't progress in life. It is not the police hunting you down as an innocent victim with a bag of Skittles in your hoodie when you are beating on somebody and you resist arrest. It is not fucking oppression. Quit fucking blaming the white male for it. And I know I'm going to be labeled a racist for this right now. Right now, go ahead, give it to me. I don't fucking care, because I get it on fucking Facebook and social medias all the time. I don't care. I'm not calling for the death of people of color. I'm not calling for them to be considered subhumans or subspecies. I am not a racist. But you want to label me one because of what I'm about to say? I don't care. Label me one. I was born white, male, and in this country. I am proud to be from this country, to be male, and to be white. I have a very strong family history and cultural history in my family heritage. And I'm very proud of that as well. Quit blaming me for your fucking problems. Okay? It is not your fault that my life isn't where I want it to be, any more than it is my fault you are where you are. We all make our own fucking choices, and we are all responsible for our own lots in life. Quit looking for fucking somebody to blame and playing the fucking victim. I'm sick and fucking tired of seeing and hearing it every day. Shut the fuck up. You want to change it? Here's how you fucking change it. Go out and do something with yourself.
Buy a set of work boots, get a job.
Buy a set of work boots, get a job. Get a better job. Don't work at McDonald's.
Yeah. Okay, look. Oh, my God. You're going to get me started on some shit.
Please do. Please do. I've been ranting for the last couple minutes.
McDonald's is not a career fucking job. McDonald's is an entry-level job designed for people who are 15, 16, 17 years old to have a job at high school while they're in high school and learn how to have a job. It's not a fucking career. You know, if you're in your mid-30s, early 40s, somewhere along there, and you're working at McDonald's, you have failed in life. You have fucking failed. And then to bitch saying you want $15 fucking an hour when you put you can't even get my fucking order right. You can't even put ketchup on my fucking burger when I ask you to. Yeah, no, you're not getting fucking $15 fucking an hour. All right.
Half the cheese is hanging off the sandwich.
Oh God, that was creepy as fuck. Did you see that? Hey, Did you see that? I just looked on my screen and my door was cracked and all I could see in the darkness was Kirsty's face. Like there she is again. That's all I could see. It was creepy as shit. Hi, hair. But no, like Kirsty was just telling me earlier when I got home that she heard a story on the radio about a little girl that was in like a candy store, and there was a cop in there, and the girl was like 11 years old, right? And she was stealing candy, and the cop looked right at her and saw her doing it and said, "Hey, you need to stop doing that. That's wrong." And she wouldn't listen. She kept going around and stealing stuff, so he tased her. Like, I don't see anything wrong with that. She was making a ruckus and stealing candy, making a big deal about it, being a fucking brat. Taser ass. That's going to teach her more than just taking her home and spanking her. Holy shit. I've been tased. I've been in the military. We had to do non-lethal crowd control training when I was in Iraq. And in order to be qualified to use a taser, you had to be tased. Let me tell you something about getting tased. There is nothing on the face of this planet that oh my God, that I can think of that just, Jesus Christ.
I don't know. I don't know. I went through the same training, and I've done taser. Taser sucks.
It sucks.
Taser sucks, but I think the riot minds and the crowd control beanbags are worse.
Oh God, dude, I'm having fucking flashbacks. We gotta stop talking about this. But anyway,
PTSD kicking in.
Yeah. but which I have no problem with, like the girl getting tased, right?
Right.
Because she was told by a cop. So they're talking about this on the radio. She said she heard this on the radio a few days ago. And the first person to call in to give them their opinion, this woman's like, well, I'm a teacher with a PhD, and it's so wrong that he tased. What color was the cop? What color was the little girl? Like, we need to know this stuff. Like, that was the first fucking thing she went to. And they call us the racists, right? Because she was just looking, because had it been a white cop and a black little girl, that'd have been on the fucking headlines of every goddamn paper in this fucking country. But since it was a black cop and a white girl, nobody gives a fuck, you know, and it shouldn't fucking be that way, right? So, and speaking of, you know, police brutality, right? The kneelers for the national anthem.
Oh, no, not with this new season. Not with this new season. No, please don't.
I'm going there. I'm going there.
All right.
You guys just saw me get up and walk out of the room for a minute. I went outside to get my flag to bring in it because it's getting dark outside. I take that very fucking serious. I fought for that fucking flag. I bled for that fucking flag. I have buddies that are no longer here for that flag. That flag is the reason they are not here anymore. And every Memorial Day, I crack open a beer for them. I drink one beer for my buddies. Because what else can you do? I'll be God fucking damned if you are going to go out only when you're at work, not in the off season. When you're not getting paid, only when you're at work and on the clock. And
can I be creeped out for a moment?
Yeah, go for it.
Why is the blue light on your PS4's camera?
What are you talking about?
It's fucking blue. Look at the screen. Look at the screen. The fucking camera light over your shoulder is blue. Look. Yeah, like it's fucking on.
No, it's not.
I swear to God, it looks like it's through the camera.
There's no light on that camera except one little red one.
No,
it might be.
Either way, sorry, go ahead.
You know what? The lens might be reflecting the blue light on this camera.
Might be.
It
okay.
Might be, but anyway.
Fair enough.
But anyway.
I was about to say fucking Sony's paying attention to you.
Yeah, I know, right?
Go ahead, sorry.
But these kneelers, they say they're protesting police brutality. What the fuck does the flag have to do with police brutality? Now I get it that what does the anthem have to do with police brutality? And I get that I get what the left is kind of coming from. How the national anthem represents the freedom for all men and all this stuff, and that's what they're protesting, right? First off, the fact that you're even protesting in the first place completely null and voids what you're protesting. You're saying you don't have rights, but you have the right to protest that you don't have any rights, right? And what exactly are you protesting? Police brutality. It's statistically proven to not even exist. So what you're really protesting is the fact that black people can't get away with committing crimes. That's what you're protesting. You're protesting so that black people can do whatever the fuck they want to do and not have a police officer fucking tase them. Is that what you're getting at? That's what I gather from it, right? What the fuck does the flag have to do with any of that? Like, none of it. Whatso-fucking-ever. Nothing. The two are completely unrelated in my opinion.
Well, look, it's a farce. It's always been a farce. First off, the whole entire premise has been based off of a lie.
Yeah.
Okay, the whole hands up, don't shoot movement was was based on a lie. Mm-hmm. Like Trayvon Martin, who beat the shit out of Zimmerman. I'm not saying.
Oh no, Zimmerman he fucking had that coming.
No, I'm not saying Zimmerman deserved to fucking or that Trayvon deserved to die. Right. I'm not saying that. Did Zimmerman go too far? Absolutely, he went too far.
But
was it unjustified?
Right.
Was it
Right.
unjustified? Was he just an innocent bystander that Zimmerman turned around and no, he was not.
Yeah.
He was a fucking violent criminal acting like a thug, and this is what happens when you act like a thug.
Yep.
Okay? And it doesn't matter about skin color. It could have been me, and it would have been the same result
But
because
had it been you, nobody would have heard
nobody
about
would
it.
care.
Yeah, nobody
But
would
here-
even heard about it.
So you have that number one, strike one. Number two, the movement in the NFL started by Colin fucking Kaepernick, who happened to convert to Islam,
Oh.
whose black family abandoned his ass into an orphanage, and he was adopted and given affronted every opportunity in life by a white family. The
Yep.
white family took him in, gave him a beautiful home in the suburbs, gave him a solid education, sent him to college, who he now became. I'll get to you guys in a moment, guys. What's up, guys? We got some comments in there.
Oh, right on.
We'll happily get to you guys in a moment. Let me just finish this statement. Affronted him every opportunity under the sun, and then you want to talk about oppression? Boy, you don't know what the fuck oppression is.
Yep.
Okay, now, strike number three. They protested all through last season. Every team that they would kneel or they would fucking put their fists up or they would lock arms, whatever, what have you. Then they disappeared when the season was over.
Yeah.
And then they start this shit again on this season, preseason.
Only
But all
on the payroll.
But all during that off season, where were the protests?
Yep.
Where was the kneeling at the national anthem when it was played at a military base,
Yep.
which they always play it at Revelry?
Did you see the video? There was a football game where the girl was, I think it was a high school football game, and they had a girl trying to sing the national anthem, and somebody got pissed off and ran down and unplugged the sound system so she couldn't sing it, and the entire crowd picked up and finished it. Like
Good.
it was bone chilling to actually hear and to see, and it was a great thing to see, and it's not that these people who are protesting are the majority. It's just that they're louder because
Exactly.
we don't bitch. That's the only problem. That's the only thing it is. They're not the majority. They're not. They're just louder than the rest of us. That's all.
Right. Well, Jay Newton. The point being is that there's other places they could have gone. They could have gone to the baseball games.
Yeah. Yeah.
And knelt in the fucking stands. You don't think the cameras would have found? I'm trying to think of Cam Newton. Just for the sake of it, I'm throwing a name out there. You don't think a camera wouldn't have found Cam Newton at a freaking Texas Rangers game?
Yeah.
Seeing him kneel during the national anthem.
Yeah.
The point being is that where was this supposed outrage for against suppression and everything else during the off season? It's a publicity stunt.
That's all it is. Yeah.
It is a
and the
publicity
fact that
stunt.
they were nowhere to be seen during the off season is complete balls to bone proof of that.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
It's a
what were you gonna say?
It's a publicity stunt that was based on a lie to begin with.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna touch in here, Agrodad Gaming. Thank you for checking in. I'm glad you're here to talking with us. And
right on.
Jay Newton, happily have you here. There is police brutality. I'm not saying there's not police
Well,
brutality.
no. Yeah, there is. It's just it's not such a widespread problem as what everybody's saying it is. And it's like if racism was such a problem in this country that everybody is saying it is, right? Because police brutality, what they're talking about, stems back to racism, right? That's the core issue. Okay, if racism was running as rampant as everybody says and claims that it is in this country, if everybody who voted for Trump was a huge racist, you would have open warfare in the streets right now of whites gunning down every single black man on the streets. You wouldn't be able to look outside without seeing bodies piling up. You know, it wouldn't no, fuck no. It's not. Is it a problem? Yes. Racism is evil. That is a horrible, horrible fucking idea to have in your head, to be a racist. That is horrible.
And
but it's not
to
nearly
be fair.
the
To be
problem
fair,
everybody says it is.
to be fair, racism is disgusting on any level. Whether
Yeah.
it's a white person hating people of color or whether it's a person of color hating a white person.
Yeah, it's the
Plain
same
and
thing.
simple. It's the exact same thing. Don't let them try to feed you otherwise. Oh, racism is what did they try to say? Ignorance mixed with power.
Yeah.
Or some shit like that. Like they try to
Yeah.
redefine racism to where people of color can't be racist because they've never had the power. Bullshit.
The word racism doesn't even make sense when you think about it. There's only one race, the human race. There's it's not that blacks are a different race from us. They're still of the human race. You know what I'm saying?
He's not. Newton, he's not saying that. He's not saying just because you're racist doesn't mean that you're going to kill black people.
Right.
Just there aren't deaths every day doesn't mean racism isn't out there.
No, racism is out there.
Nobody's saying that racism isn't out there. What he was trying to say is everybody who is a Trump supporter, for the sake of argument here, was a white supremacist, KKK, Nazi, goose-stepping fag boy, just like they're painted out to be by the left, then there would be a bunch of deaths because their leader, who supposedly Trump is in office right now and would give them carte blanche to go killing in the streets.
Yeah.
The fact that there's not in any way, shape, or form anything like that is proof enough that what they're painting out people who support Trump or may agree with Trump's ideals is wrong.
Simply look at this. Which side has the more violent protests? Both sides protest. Which side is always the most violent? Just think about it that way. You know what I mean? And you know, you look at the left and the right and their protests, you know, the right never counter protests. The left counter protests. And that's when problems happen. And every time I've seen a video of, you know, these counter protests happening, it's always the right kicking the left's ass. You know, and the only I guess comparison I can make to the left, and remember, this is just my opinion, is, you know, we had Obama in office for 8 years, completely weakened our economy, weakened, you know, where we stood on the global stage, and then you have Trump come in, right? And think about what Obama did. He had Obama phones. All right, Kirsty used to work at a Walmart in Ohio at the electronics department, and people were coming in asking for their Obama phone. Their fucking Obama phone. Okay, think about that. So, just gives everybody everything. And then you have Trump come in, right? Who is trying to get us back to a place of power where we used to be, right? Where we used to build great things, you know, and we actually were a superpower in the world, right? Because we haven't been for the last decade. We haven't been a superpower at all in the last decade.
And to be fair, that started. The decline started in the Bush administration. I'm not going to blame Obama. This isn't like we're blaming the Democrats things. It did start with the Republicans. Right. Bush did start the decline of the country back then.
Yeah, no, you're completely right. He did. But now you have Trump come in, right? Who is saying you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do this, enforcing the laws, right? He's not making new immigration laws. He's enforcing the ones that we've already had that nobody else enforced. That's all it is. So the way you can compare this is a couple of kids got left alone for the weekend at home. Their parents went away. That's when Obama showed up. We all fucking partied. We all got whatever the fuck we wanted. And now mom and daddy came back home, and it's time to start obeying the fucking rules again, you know? And what do? You rebel. No, I don't want to fucking do what you're telling me to do. That's when I was a kid. Look, every kid has that rebel stage, right, in their life where fuck mom and dad. They don't know what the fuck they're talking about. I'm going to go do it on my own, right? And there's two ways you can go after that experience, right? It's like the Rumspringer of the Amish. There's one of two ways you can go on that. Either you come back home and you go, oh shit, they were right. Oh my God, you know, I learned a lot during that. Oh my God, it's time to grow up. Or, oh my God, I love this lifestyle. Fuck everybody else. I fuck getting a job. I'm just gonna party. You know, and that's all it is. You know, fuck, give me everything. And luckily, I turned out the way I did. Right? I came back home, and I mean, I came home the prodigal son. You know, I mean, I really, really did, and swallowed my pride and told my mom and dad I was right. And that's the problem. The left can't do that. You know, and the ideals that they're standing behind are just being fed to them by CNN. You know, and I told somebody at work today, there's one customer that comes in the co-op where I work. And he's hardcore conservative. I'm a hardcore conservative. He's a millionaire, but you wouldn't know it by looking at him. He raises dogs. He comes in covered in dog shit, dirty. He works every fucking day, but he's a millionaire.
Right.
And he comes in, and we were talking about it today, and he was talking about how Trump said something about Google today, and everybody got on his fucking ass. I'm like, you know what? Trump could come out and do a blanket ban on all rifles and pistols and guns as a whole, and the left would still fucking call him the Antichrist and a Nazi. Like, he could give them everything they fucking want, and oh, no, you know what, we don't want that. If Trump's supporting that, we don't want to be a part of that. No, never mind.
I've stated that before. Trump could come out today and say, I found the cure for cancer, and people would bitch that he put doctors and pharmacists and researchers out of business. I want to, before we continue on, we got a couple, Newton has dropped in a couple things I want to address here.
Okay.
One of which I'm going to address this one first because he did drop it a while back, and I wanted you to know we weren't ignoring you. Okay. I actually do not have an answer for this one. Maybe you do. I don't really know the full story behind it. Okay. But why didn't Trump fly the flag at half-mast during when John McCain died?
That's a good question. I don't know.
That is a good question.
Like you know where I stand with the John McCain thing, right? Mm-hmm. We talked about that the other day while we were playing. I'm not going to get into that here because that's gonna open a whole new fucking can of worms. But yeah, you know, I was still waiting. I'm still waiting for that, you know, and because like I said, I go out and I put my flag out every morning when I'm walking out the door to go to work, and at night when it gets dark, I go out and I get it and I bring it in. You know, I follow the rules of the flag, right? So if the president orders them at half-mast, whether I agreed with the guy or not, who's no longer with us and who the half-mast is for, I'm going to put my fucking flag at half-mast. You know, that's the way it is. And you're right. It never has happened yet. I'm actually honestly shocked that it hasn't. That is one thing. Yeah, I will give you that. That is one thing that I'm curious about too.
Well, look, regardless of whether you like John McCain or not, he was a U.S. senator, and he was a war hero for if you can't say anything else nice about the man. He was a war hero, and he was a U.S. senator, and deserves to be recognized for as such. Should the White House lower the flag to half-mast?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think it's an injustice done by the Trump administration that they're not.
Yeah,
I will
agree.
absolutely say that. As far as their reasoning behind not doing it, I don't know. I honestly, I'll be honest with you. I haven't looked into that. I'll have to look into that. Maybe next week I'll give you an answer because I'll look into it, do some research. But right now, I don't know why he's doing it, but I don't agree that he did it.
Yeah, same. Like I said, I follow the rules of the flag, and that is completely that's grounds for half-mast. That is, you know, and like I said, you know where I stand with John McCain, and Kirsty told her dad the other day where I stood with John McCain, and he's like, "Well, Brian ain't dumb." Like that's the first thing out of his mouth. So. But yeah, if they call out half-mast, I'll put mine at half-mast. I'll be the first one to do it.
You should be doing it anyway. It's still a lost brother.
I should be, yeah.
It's still a lost brother. Yeah. He also stated back here, I'm trying to catch back up on some of his comments here. You don't have to be in the KKK to be racist. I agree with you. Not everyone who voted Trump is in the KKK, but I think there is a higher level of racism than you two are letting on. But I do agree with you that there is less than the media is putting out. Mm-hmm. No, you're absolutely right. And one of the biggest things that are perpetrating really the actions of the left and raising the ire of the right. I'm not going to put the full blame on the left on this one, but the true rabble rousers is not Donald Trump. It is not the conservative party. It's not even the liberal party. It is the liberal biased media. Yeah, they are telling you what you should or should not know, or what they think you should or should not know. They're putting a fucking they're spin doctoring the shit out of it to make sure that you guys are always just informed enough to be angry but not have full facts about it. They're not necessarily straight out lying. They're just omitting facts about the truth. And that is definitely like what you're saying here with the racism, and that there's more levels than are being let on, but less than the media is putting out there. Yeah. It's a perfect example of it. Is there racism? Absolutely. Oh, yeah. Is there different levels of racism? Sure. I'm not going to say there's not. But is it literally every white person on the planet wants to see not on the planet, in America, wants to see every person of color or every person of trans or gay or whatever leaning destroyed, killed, enslaved, whatever? No, God, no. You know, and that's the problem, is because they're being painted as it is. That's exactly what's going on when it's not. Go ahead. Sorry.
Well, see, a perfect example I can think of, and I'm sure you guys have seen this picture on Facebook before. There's a photo from a while back. I believe it was after Trump was elected. I want to say it was after Trump was elected. I could be wrong, but
Right.
I think it was. But anyway, was it the New York Times or was it the Journal? I think it was the Journal, or maybe it was the Gazette. I mean, it might have been the Gazette. In New York, they put out 2 different headlines in 2 different parts of the city with the same story, but one headline kind of catered to the left and the other headline catered to the right, but it was the same story, you know? So it's, they do, and some of the story was, I shouldn't say it was the same story. Some of it was tweaked to cater to whichever side the headline was for, but that just goes to show, I guess it's the exact same photo too. It just goes to show that they change their stuff for ratings depending on where their stuff's coming out. They're catering to certain audiences depending on where you are, right? So CNN, like, okay, let's talk about the Puerto Rico thing for a minute. The mayor of of that town in Puerto Rico, right? When the hurricane hit and they tried saying, well, they don't have any supplies, and you know the mayor's on CNN wearing a "Help Us We're Dying" shirt, right? Where the fuck did she get the shirt? Like, CNN's there already, and she's standing in front of cases of water and food, and she's wearing a shirt that says "Help Us We're Dying." You don't think CNN didn't set that up? So the media is lying. They are doctoring stuff. I mean, just the fact that they report nothing but negative about the president alone proves it. Because, I mean, that right there just shows you which side of the aisle you're on. Because Trump is doing good. His approval rating, whether you want to believe it or not, is skyrocketing. He's got a higher approval rating.
Particularly for a Republican.
Right. He's got a higher approval rating than Obama ever even had. He's got a higher approval rating than what Bush ever had. He has got this like skyrocketed approval rating, and everybody just ignores it. Now, if that same approval rating drops, because CNN's not reporting on a high approval rating, but if it drops below 40%, holy shit, CNN's on that like a motherfucker. You know what I mean? Like they're pushing an agenda. That's all it is. I don't listen to mainstream media anymore.
Look,
I just don't.
I watch CNN, and I'll be honest with you. I watch CNN for the same reason I watch soccer games in Spanish. I don't watch it. I'm serious. I don't watch it for the game. I watch it for the commentators. And the reason I do is I don't speak Spanish. I wait for the words they have to say in English.
Yeah.
But Pepsi Cola. I watch CNN to listen to all their dribble, waiting for the moment they have to say something nice about Trump.
Mm-hmm. Well,
they have no choice. Trump said something that was positive, and it's like you almost see them swallowing the bile as they report it.
Yeah.
And to me, it's just funny. Yeah.
A great example is right after Trump was elected, right? And he came out and said that Trump Tower was wiretapped. You remember that? Somebody put out I don't remember what it was, but the picture was on Facebook, and somebody put out a tweet and said CNN, or no, it said Trump 6 months ago. Trump Tower was wiretapped, and then it said CNN. Oh, Donald Trump's such a fucking idiot. He thinks he was wiretapped. Blah blah blah. 6 months later, CNN, Trump Tower was wiretapped. And it's like that right there sums up fucking everything. There hasn't been a single fucking thing that Trump hasn't been proven right on so far. Nothing. I mean, and like Hillary Clinton was trying to fact check him during the fucking campaign. Like every single thing he said is fact. I would rather have somebody who blatantly, uneloquently tells me the truth than somebody who eloquently lies to me. You know what? Yeah.
That's absolutely true. Moving on here,
Yeah.
why do we need to be a superpower? I mean, obviously we don't want to be a third world country, but why do we need to be a dominant and assert our power? Very simply, I'll give you 2 answers there: China and Russia.
Well,
Both
so we
are
have a good
superpowers.
life. Yeah.
It's not just a good life, but that we can stand up to anybody who could possibly oppose us and take us over. Everybody's worried about Russian collusions and everything else. People seem to forget the Cold War, where Russia was training missiles at us at a continuous rate.
Yep.
That's why we need to be a superpower. Not because we want to assert dominance, but we want to keep people from asserting their dominance upon us.
Yep.
He flew at half mast for like half a day. Flag protocol requires it to be longer. Veteran groups called Trump out for being petty. Basically, Trump is letting his personal opinions of McCain blind him. I absolutely agree.
I agree with that too. Like, I hate to say it, but I can call a spade. Yeah, I can agree with that. Yeah.
And then we have, I don't know the reasoning either. I would assume it's just Trump being petty. I would agree. Agro-Dad, it was Dad says it was petty for McCain to say he didn't want Trump to be at his funeral. Again, absolutely true. But this
yeah.
is where the butting of heads seems more like schoolyard banter than usual political discourse.
Yeah.
Because I don't want you at your funeral. Oh yeah, well I don't want you at my birthday party. Oh yeah, well I won't fly the flag when you die.
Wait,
like
okay.
that's what I'm hearing my 8 and 9-year-old argue.
Okay,
you know what I mean?
perfect example of this. The first State of the Union address with Trump. Did you watch it?
Yeah.
Okay. Why is it, and maybe somebody on the left can tell me this, because I cannot fucking wrap my head around it.
Okay.
You looked at that room, and it was literally split down the center of half the people giving standing ovation and the other half sitting there like they had TNT up their ass and they were afraid if they moved it was going to go off. Like, and like
old horse teeth sitting there just grinding away the whole time.
Yeah. Why not applaud lowest African American unemployment? Why not applaud Latino unemployment? The lowest ever. Why not applaud that? It's literally out of pettiness because they didn't win the election. That's literally all it was. Had Hillary been standing up there and giving the exact same speech, it would have been completely different. It would have been completely... Now, granted, we wouldn't have had the lowest unemployment. I'm going to say that right now. But had it been Obama, like Trump gives these speeches about illegal immigration. Everybody calls him a fucking racist. And then somebody posts a video of Obama saying the exact same fucking thing, and it's perfectly okay. Like, tell me how that... Somebody from the left. I want somebody from the left to tell me why that is, because I have yet to have one person give me one good reason why nobody stood up to applaud lowest African American unemployment ever, lowest Latino unemployment ever. Nobody stood for the boy that was putting flags on veterans' graves. They didn't clap for the North Korean hostage or the kid that escaped North Korea. They didn't applaud him. Why? It's literally out of pettiness. You're pissed off and you're pouting because you lost an election. That's all it is.
No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. I think the biggest thing that pisses me off though is like, 'cause I can even forgive that during the election because the loss was still pretty fresh. Okay.
Yeah. Well, did you notice that also?
And
Trump
the propaganda
was
high.
Did you notice Trump was like toasting him too every time he'd get a standing applause on the other side? He'd hi, yeah.
Yeah. I noticed it. He was rubbing it in. Look,
yeah, he was.
I'll be the last one in the world to say that Donald Trump isn't the most arrogant asshole on the fucking planet. He is. Yep. He is loving your hate as much as he's loving our love.
Yep.
Okay. He is an arrogant son of a bitch. But you know what?
He is. Yeah.
He's got a right to be cocky.
Yeah.
Because at least he's backing up his words with actions.
Yeah.
Whether you love him or hate him, he is keeping his campaign promises.
Yeah.
And he's getting rid of people that are getting in his way of keeping his campaign promises. He said he would bring jobs back to America.
And that's what he's
doing. Jobs are back. He said he would give tax breaks to everybody. Everybody got a nice fat tax return this year.
Yep.
He said that he would lower
unless you don't have a job. Unless you don't have a job.
Yeah. He said he would lower unemployment for everybody. Guess what? Everybody's getting jobs.
Yeah.
Like everything he said.
I got a hell of a bonus. I got a raise. Like that raise and that bonus were the reason that I could get this house. That was the reason. That's why I can afford this house is because of my raise. Like if it wasn't for that, I would still be in a rental. Yeah, my I don't know what my bonus looked like. It went to child support, but that's a completely separate subject. I agree. This is why I'm worried for the future. All this taking sides on both sides is not good. Democrats should be willing to work with the Republicans and applaud them when they do good. Likewise, Republicans should work with them. I absolutely agree with you. The problem is that's where I was going to go. This is the problem I have with the Democratic Party. Back during the State of the Union address, I can forgive the fact that they were still pouting over the loss. It was still fresh in their minds and everything else. They lost the House. They lost the presidency. Everything. I get that. But Nancy Pelosi, that was horse teeth. I was trying to think of. I knew who you talked about.
But now, 2 years later, since he got into office,
we still have a fucking Russian probe going.
The right has, on numerous occasions, extended a hand across the aisle. Let's start working together. The president has begged for the left to start getting in line and working with the programs to start doing what needs to be done, and you're still battling him. You're not the left, the Democratic Party does not give two shits about what is best for the people. All they care about is their own political point of view, their own votes.
Yep.
That is a problem. That is what's going to ruin this country.
There was something on Facebook today. I shared it. I don't know if you saw it, but I had to share it. It was I forget who said it, but somebody said now that McCain is dead, he must be registered to vote Democrat.
I saw that.
Yeah, I couldn't help but laugh at that. But you know, and there's another thing I wanted to bring up also real quick since we're on the topic, and you know, this is kind of a airing everything out, right? Everybody gets pissed off at Trump using Twitter the way he does. I fucking love it. I fucking love it. You know, like, he's using Twitter the way a president should be using Twitter, in my opinion. You know, he's being very transparent. I trust his Twitter account more than I do mainstream media most of the time. You know, he puts weekly addresses out on Facebook in video form. Obama never did that. He never did a weekly address. You know,
I would have to disagree with you to an extent. I'll let you finish your statement.
Oh no, but it's you know, whenever he, you know, starts talking about the NFL and stuff, that's a little iffy. Because, I mean, he's allowed to have an opinion about it, and yeah, he can put it out there all he wants, but, you know, when you're trying to influence something like that, that's actually unconstitutional. You can't do shit like that. But when he's out talking about how they did this and they did this, you know, like the new U.S.-Mexico trade deal that he just concreted, yesterday?
Right.
He was tweeting about that. I don't see any problem with that. You know, CNN sure as fuck wasn't going to report on it because it's a good thing. You know, maybe they did report it. I don't fucking know. But they probably spun it some fucking way. But it's, you know, I don't mind the fact that he's using it. I really don't. Why the fuck does everybody else get to use it, but he doesn't?
Well, see, that's where I disagree with you. Like the weekly address on Facebook, I'm fine with, but the man tweets a little too much. In my mind, the president should be treating his office the same way as a poker player protects his cards. You keep them close to the chest. You don't let people know what's in your hand.
But
quite honestly, I think Trump, especially because, you know, the mainstream media, the left constantly try to use his words against him. The best thing Trump could do is shut the fuck up and let his actions speak.
Well, see, I feel like because the mainstream media is always twisting everything he says, that's why I like him being on Twitter, because he actually is able to get out what he's trying to say and not have it twisted. You know what I mean? Like, instead of CNN taking, a part of a text, you know, a part of a tweet and then running with it, I would rather sit down and read the whole tweet and be like, oh yeah, cool. You know, I agree with that. Or no, I don't agree with that. I would rather have it in context than to have it ripped out of context.
I got to definitely, there's a couple statements here that I'm going to read off here.
Yeah, go for it.
That absolutely need to be agreed with here.
Okay.
Jay Newton says, I agree they are still being petty.
Mm-hmm.
And do you not think in the future when the Democrats win, be it 2020 or 2022 or 2024, etc.
Oh yeah, it'll happen again.
That the Republicans won. Yeah, of course, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Someone has to be the bigger man and start this, not hold grudges.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. It starts with one person.
It does.
Somebody needs to put up the white flag and say, let's have a discussion.
Yep.
Let's have a dialogue. And then Agrodad did bring up a very good point when we're talking about like Trump sticking his nose into things like the NFL.
Yeah.
Obama tried to influence the NFL as well. He tried to say that the Chiefs and the Redskins and all the Native American teams needed to change.
Oh, yeah.
And nobody said a word. He may have been right, but he stuck his nose where it didn't belong.
No,
you're
right.
absolutely right. Whether the teams are offensive and maybe should be changed or not, that's neither here nor there. I'm kind of a purist. The Chiefs and the Redskins are fine to me. In fact, if I were to pick any team in any sport, in any team, if I found one to maybe be a little too derogatory to the Native American culture, I would say the Cleveland Indians. Have you seen their mascot?
Oh yeah.
I think that one would be one that if I were to say anything on it, I would say that one needs to be changed. But beyond that, the Chiefs, the Redskins, the Blackhawks in hockey, they're fine. They're paying tribute to a culture. How's that bothering anybody?
So check this out, right?
Right. Go ahead.
These people that get offended by these names, like the Redskins and stuff, right? Oh my God, triggered, right?
Right.
What about the state of Oklahoma? Oklahoma means red man. That's exactly what Oklahoma means. Are you going to rename the state of fucking Oklahoma? Like, you can't politically correct every goddamn thing in the world. You cannot fucking do it. Because even if you politically correct it, you're still going to piss people off. All right? Like, here's an example, right?
But I don't know if that's the truth, but if that's the truth, which I don't
Oklahoma means
think,
red man.
No, not you, Agrodad. He said the mascot for the Cleveland Indians is designed after a Native American Indian player. It was made as an homage to a well-loved player.
Oh.
I'm going to take your word at that. I don't know that for a fact, but you know what? If that's the case, then I stand corrected.
Yeah.
I absolutely stand corrected. I could be wrong. Sorry, go ahead.
but with this political correctness thing, right? Okay, so the best example I can think of, and I've pissed a lot of people off having this conversation with them.
Go ahead.
The word, and oh boy, I'm about to get racy here. If I offend you, hear me out. The word retard. All right? The word retard is not a bad word. It has been used badly, and it has been used negatively to call people names. It is not a negative word. That's still called mental retardation. That is still the name of the condition. That's still it. They are still retarded. They're mentally retarded. That's not a bad thing. That's not a negative thing. But people have this negative connotation with a word now that wasn't negative to begin with. God forbid we say that word now. You know what I mean? Like, now some words, like, well, I'm not going to say it, but like the N word, yeah, that word needs to go. You know, like that was from a different time.
That was from a different time, but at the same difference, if you look at its thing, as you were saying about the word retard, is it's used out of context.
Yeah.
Is it used in a very hateful way? Absolutely. Should it be banned because of what it became? Absolutely.
Yep.
But in its inception, was the word a racial slur?
No.
Its definition is ignorance. Somebody who is ignorant.
Yeah. So like, no matter
technically the argument is the N-word's really an oxymoron, because the person using it as a racial slur is actually the definition of an N-word.
Right.
Let's be real.
So like, but these it all comes down to connotation. Like it depends on how you were raised, what you know, what you have been taught, right? So that's what it all comes down to. This political correctness bullshit has got to stop. And you call a spade a spade. You know, it's like okay, like, you know, I'm a country music fan, right? Okay, that's where you and I kind of butt heads a little bit, you know, because you're not big of a country guy. I'm a big country guy. But there was a song that Tim McGraw did.
Whoa, I'm going to stop you there.
Okay.
I love country. I love blues. I love jazz. I hate hip hop and R&B.
Yo, hip hop.
I am a country. Yeah. I am or not a country. I am a music connoisseur.
Right.
Because I used to play in bands that did rock and metal.
Okay.
That is my major forte. But that doesn't mean I didn't sit down and jam some Garth Brooks or some B.B. King or some Muddy Waters. I've got my taste, man.
Well, then stop giving me shit for liking country.
I give you shit about liking country because your family tree don't fork.
Oh, damn. It forks. It just looks like the Olympic rings. But
I've never seen a tree make a perfect circle.
Oh my God, right?
Human centipede all over again.
Circle of life. Anyway, but there's a song Tim McGraw has done. I don't remember what it's called, but it talks about how when a hoe was a hoe. You know, like, you actually called things what they were back then, you know, and now everybody, like, it's just, people have put such a negative connotation with everything, you know, and it shouldn't be that way, you know, like Jay Newton says, I think if you say someone is retarded, then that is fine, but if that is the medical term, but to call someone a quote unquote retard, especially given the connotation and tone, might be wrong. That is what I'm getting at. That's completely wrong. But, you know, like if you and I were talking off camera, right? And I don't think I've ever said this. If I have, correct me. Don't correct me on camera. But I'm just saying. But if I was like, oh, you're so
wrong.
You're so retarded or something like that, you know I'm joking. You know I don't mean anything bad by that, right? That's because I was raised as that term, right? But when I look at somebody who is mentally challenged, right, who is mentally retarded, I don't look at them as a retard. You know what I mean? Like, I just negatively. I'm hey, they have needs. You know what I mean? Like, they have different needs than what I have, you know? That's all it is. I voted for Trump, right? I don't fit this cookie cutter that the left has made of racist and, just homophobic and xenophobic. Like, I don't fit that cookie cutter. I have beliefs, but at the same time, like this entire show, this entire, hour and whatever we've been talking, it's all of it's our opinions, minus the facts that we've stated that have been proven. Everything else is our opinion, and we're entitled to our opinion just like everybody else is. But I mean, you and I are not that cookie cutter racist, I can't even fucking say it right now because I'm getting fucking rattled. Xenophobic. Yeah, thank you.
Misogynist.
But I have my beliefs. I have certain beliefs, but like those beliefs are my opinion. You know what I mean? You mentioned earlier we have people with Realm of the Mist of different cultures, right? And stuff. And how many times have we gotten into it with them on Facebook? How many times have we ganged up on them? That happens, right?
But here's the thing.
But
here's
we
the thing.
still work together.
Right. And here's the thing. When we had those gang ups, or we've had those spirited debates, as I'll call them, it was really no different than what we're having right now with Agrodad and Jay Newton. It was an open dialogue and exchange of ideas. It was never taken personal. It was never intended to be taken as personal. It was not saying that my idea is absolute, and if you don't agree with me, you're wrong. It's right. This is what I think. This is what I believe. This is my point of view, or this is my opinion. Mm-hmm. I welcome to hear yours because maybe you'll change my mind, or maybe I'll change yours. Yeah. But if we walk away still thinking and believing what we think and believe beforehand, I still sat down and heard somebody else's point of view.
Yep. Like what Jay Newton was talking about earlier with the flag at half-mast. I believe that's wrong. I'm a Trump supporter, but I believe what he's doing with that is wrong. Mm-hmm. That needs to happen, and you can find common ground like that from both sides. You can find issues that you agree on if you just talk about it, and you don't jump down each other's throat and start calling people names, because they have a different opinion than you. That seems to be the first thing that the left always goes for, Like, I think somebody on your friends list a while back, because even you messaged me and told me, whoa, you might have gone too far. Somebody on your, you know what I'm talking about. Somebody, I don't remember who it was. Somebody on your friends list said something about how Obama will always be the best president in their mind. And I was like, oh, really? What about this? And I started naming all 78 impeachable offenses that he committed while he was in office, right? And all this illegal, unconstitutional shit that he did, and I just let her fucking have it because I had it pent up for a while. I hadn't shared anything political in a while, and it pent up, and she's the one that uncorked it, and it's just, but I didn't call her any names. I hit her with facts. I asked her, because you can vouch for this. I even asked for her, why do you feel that way? And she couldn't back it up with any facts. It was all the left, because, and I'll say this, and because I know we're probably getting pretty close to having to close, aren't we? Or we're not that far in. But if you break down the right and the left, right is mainly based off of fact, whether the left wants to admit it or not, and the left is based mainly off of emotion. If you just break it down to its core values.
That's a pretty good statement there. Jay Newton says, sure, I could tell that I would not agree with you both on things 100%, but I cannot vilify you for those certain things. If you aligned yourself with people who think 100% like you do, that is how you get into these us versus them situations. You are absolutely right. Yes. The biggest threat for both sides, the left and the right, the biggest threat is these fucking echo chambers where you only hear the exact same shit being spewed back at you as you believe. Well, and you're not hearing the other points of view, the other ideas, the other cultures, or whatever else that may be. That is absolutely majorly what's going on in the world right now. BLM, Antifa, the extreme alt-right, they are all products of the echo chamber. They don't want to hear anything but their own point of view.
A perfect example, right? The Occupy Democrats Facebook page. I think I told you about this. I got on there one day and just started trying to put my idea out there and asking people, well, how come this didn't happen then? Well, the same thing happened when Obama was in office. Why didn't you guys say anything about it fucking then? And they blocked me from the page 30 seconds after I started doing it. Literally 30 seconds. So it's literally you surround yourself by yes men, people who only agree with you, and you think you're the majority, and both sides are guilty of it. I'll say it. Both sides are fucking guilty of it.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm not going to sit here and say it's only the left or it's, and the right doesn't do it. The right fucking does it too.
Oh, absolutely.
It is absolutely both sides. But like Jay Newton says, you need both facts and emotions. You can't plow through things based on all fact, ignore people's emotions, but you also can't make decisions based purely on feeling. He's right. You see, and that's one thing. Look, with the emotional thing, let's talk about like for a good example would be the Muslim ban, right? Remember when Trump did the ban from the certain countries and Muslims from certain countries? I was completely okay with that. I was completely behind him 100% because of that, right? Think about this. And put it in and let me put it into perspective like this, right? You're going to let a few refugees in that could easily Trojan horse some extremists that could commit terrorist attacks, right, on U.S. soil. The best way to keep that from happening is keep them all out. Now, granted, that hurts the refugees, but you gotta put America first at some point. How are you going to help another country when we can't figure out our own fucking problems? You know. So when he did wait, hang on just a second. When he did this ban, I was okay with it. Right, because you put it into perspective like this. Let's say I'm gonna come, like Jay Newton. Let's just say, I'm gonna let 10 people into your house, whether you want them there or not. And one of them, I'm not gonna tell you which one, but one of them is going to try to kill you and your family. Are you gonna let me let those 10 people into your house? Fuck no. You're not gonna let those 10 people into your fucking house, even though 9 of them are completely innocent and they're good people. You don't know which fucking one is the bad one. You don't know which one is the rotten egg of the group. So sometimes you have to take extreme steps depending on the situation. If you don't want a terrorist attack on U.S. soil, because at the time that happened, you had bombings at concerts going on. You had shootings in our own country going on. You had, terrorist attacks in bus stations overseas. Like all this other stuff was going on. ISIS was like really ramping up. So you got to do what you got to do at the time. Yeah, it can be labeled as extreme, but extreme times call for extreme measures.
Well, here's the major deal that a lot of people seem to forget about. We are in a war on terror that did start with Bush, ran through with Obama, is still going on with Trump. It got
put on the back burner with Obama.
But it's still look, the devil is due. Yeah. Okay, it was Obama's administration that got bin Laden.
Yeah,
I will give the devil his due.
Yeah.
Okay, but the fact of the matter is we have been in a war for well over 10 years. On terror, and most of the terrorist activities has come from the Middle East. I'm sorry, but fact is fact.
Yep.
But here's the thing. This only happens during times of war. Mm-hmm. When we were in World War II with Japan, we vexed Japanese people. Now, the internment camps was wrong, but we blocked Japanese immigration. We did the same thing during Vietnam. We did the same thing during Korea. We did the same thing during World War II with the Germans. You don't think there were Germans blocked? There were. Okay.
Go ahead. Sorry.
The fact of the matter is that this is something that happens when you're not sure of the people coming in because of the conflict that you are in with that particular area at that point in time. That's not a racist thing. That's until we can figure out which of you are the good guys looking for asylum or whatever else, and which ones are just looking for a quick entry in to be able to yell Allahu Akbar and blow something up. We got to stop everybody. It sucks for the people that did no wrong, but it protects the people that didn't.
I will say this. I do disagree with you on one thing. It does not only happen when we're at war. We were not at war when 9/11 happened. That was a complete out of left field. That was
we weren't blocking people.
Right, but that was a sucker punch.
No, it absolutely was. I know that. Yeah. That's not what I meant. I meant the blocking of particular areas
like the refugees,
countries.
like what I brought up with Trump.
Right. That's what I was meaning.
Yeah. But here's the thing. Had Obama done it, nobody would have said a fucking word.
He did do it.
You're right.
He did do it. Nobody
You're right. He did. You're right. Yeah. No. And like talking about when Trump dropped that Moab on Syria. You remember that? The mother of all bombs? Like, it was the next level below nuclear. You remember that? Everybody got pissed off at him. Well, guess what? The month before Trump took office from Obama, Obama was carpet bombing the fuck out of Syria. He was carpet bombing the shit out of them. He dropped so many more bombs than Trump has. And nobody screamed bloody murder then. You know?
Very good point by Agrodad. Do you think in 10 years when Trump dies, a Democrat in office will not fly the flag at half-mast?
If Trump dies in office, it's Pence.
Well, no. He what he's asking about is in like
Oh,
10 years down the
after
line.
he's out of his presidency. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Well, whether he's out of his presidency or not, do you think that the Democratic Party will give him the honor salute?
I don't want to say no. I don't want to answer that because I can't answer that.
I want to believe that they would have the respect
I
to
do
not
too.
do that. I want to believe that, but I wouldn't. It depends.
wouldn't
Is,
surprise me.
is Maxine Waters and Nancy Pelosi
Jesus.
still in charge of the Democratic Party? Because if that be the case, then yeah, I could possibly see them
Yeah.
pulling the same shit.
Yeah.
However, I want to believe better of people, and I don't think they would. I don't think they would do that.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing.
Hold on, we're getting close. We are getting close on time, and so I want to make sure I get everybody's questions and stuff.
Yeah, right on.
You need. You already did the facts and emotions things.
Yeah.
And I understand most of this. Just a random thought. Do you think our country has created future terrorists out of Mexico kids that we separated from their parents? Right or wrong, they shouldn't come here is beside the point. The way our government handles some situations is reckless. Some of those separated kids will grow up to attack America. To answer this one, the problem is some of those kids that have been separated have been proven to be the terrorists that were, or not necessarily terrorists. That's incorrect.
No.
Let me retract from that. Back up a second. It was proven that they weren't their kids.
Yeah.
They were muling and trafficking sex slaves and everything else in.
That's not 100% of the time, though.
That's not 100% of the time.
So what I think he's talking about are the ones that actually are.
But here's the deal:
their parents.
The family jumped the border illegally. Yeah. They got caught. The kids can't be put in the same detention camp as guys, grown men and grown women, for the exact same reason why men and women in prison are separated, and that kids have a juvenile hall instead of being put into a grown adult prison, because rapes happen, assaults happen. You don't want to put kids in that situation. Am I saying it's an ideal process? No, I'm not. But is it an inhumane thing to take a child away from criminals, which call them what you will. It is a criminal act to jump the border illegally. Now, I know I heard the crap about like, oh, they're seeking asylum. Well, guess what? There's U.S. embassies in every fucking country. You want to seek asylum? Go to the embassy before you jump the border. Go to the embassy and say, I need asylum. They will take care of you there, and they'll put you up in a lot better accommodations in the detention camp.
Fuck yeah. Well, no, what it is, these people that say they're seeking asylum, I guarantee it. It was them just crossing the border, and they got caught. And they're trying to say, oh, no, we're just here seeking asylum. That's all. You're not seeking asylum. You were trying to get here illegally to work, to take jobs from Americans. You know, I have no problem if you come to this country legally. I have no problem whatsoever. I welcome you. Come in, contribute to society, do so legally. Learn English. That is our language. I should not have to fucking push 2 on English whenever I fucking call my internet service provider, and I fucking do. I have to push 2 for English. That is bullshit. But anyway.
Anyway, I'll do one better. I'll do one better for you, Jay Newton, real quick. I don't necessarily think that we're creating homegrown terrorists out of the Mexican kids, but I will say this much as far as when Mexico is concerned. I think with the way we're
going about it.
No. I will say that I've been saying this forever. The immigration system, the legal immigration system, does need a reform. It does need to become, I don't want to say simpler, but easier to obtain for the right people. Mm-hmm. I think the process does need to be better. But no, the people I'm worried about becoming terrorists from Mexico is not the children of illegal immigrants.
It's the people we sent back.
No, it's not even them.
I'm just saying.
It's the way we're martyring groups like MS-13. I think that is the terrorist uprise that we need to be more concerned about if we're talking about anything from south of our border. Yeah. Because they have already been violent. They have been extremely violent, decapitating people and cutting out their hearts and shit like that. And we turn around and say, "Oh, well, they were good. They were good immigrants."
Yeah.
Or undocumented immigrants or whatever else. We're making excuses for animalistic behavior. Yeah. Now, I'm not saying that all Mexicans are animalistic. I'm not saying all Mexicans are MS-13. Right. No, I'm not lumping in people that way. So I don't want to be misquoted that way.
Right.
MS-13 gang members are acting like they're on a Mexican version of a jihad, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
To where they're killing indiscriminately. And that's where my concern majorly is, as far as like something like that being concerned.
Well, let me ask you something real quick, Jay Newton. And this is the back and forth that we talk about that we always welcome. You say not simpler or quicker, but yeah, it needs a reform. What would you do different? What would you do differently with it? Because we have this process that we've had set in place for years and decades, and it's not that Trump came up with it. It's just he's enforcing it. That's the only difference now, So like, and yeah, I completely agree with you. It does need a reform, but what you personally, what would you do differently for it? Chris, what would you do different?
I honestly, I don't know. I get that there is a process. Look, one of the rights we have in this country is a right to a speedy trial, right? I think that same logic should be applied to citizenship within the country. Mm-hmm. If somebody's looking to become a citizen or even to visa over legally, I don't think the government needs to be dragging their feet on them. Right. I think
it shouldn't be a 10-year process.
I don't think it should be a 10-year process. No. And I think we could probably cut out some of the repetitive paperwork that usually gets involved with it, filling this out in triplicate. And then, it's 3 months later, we got to have you refill it out or whatever else while we're dragging our feet. Speed up the process. I'm not saying that there's anything we could really eliminate from the process, but at least speed it up. Mm-hmm. So that way it makes it more appealing for people that may honestly want to be coming here legally, but feel like they can't do it legally, so they jump the border. It makes it more enticing for them to do it the proper way if they know that they could get it done.
Yeah. Jay Newton just said, I honestly don't know much about it, and I won't claim that I do. Same. I hear anecdotal stories, yeah. But the amount of people who are bypassing the quote-unquote legal way must tell you something is wrong with it. If it is so easy to legally come here, then people wouldn't risk the border jump. I'll be the first one to say I can't pass a U.S. citizenship test. I'll be the first one to say I can't. And but it goes back to what I was saying earlier about, and go with just go with me on this. It doesn't seem like it's going to be related, but I promise you it is. When I was talking about when I was a kid and I tried to earn my money to get my first Game Boy, right? Mm-hmm. I mowed lawns all summer to save money to buy this Game Boy. And like I said, it meant more to me when I finally got it because I'd worked to earn it. I did everything I was supposed to do. I saved my money back. I waited. I didn't, I did all, and I did it the way my dad wanted me to do. And I learned a lesson from it. And it meant more to me. I took care of it, and you look at my sister who was just given her Game Boy at Christmas the following year because she was jealous that I had one and she didn't. And she trashed it. The screen was cracked across it. She didn't give a crap. She threw it in a toy box somewhere. It busted the cartridge off of it, stuff like that. So I don't think it should take 10 years to do. I think that's way too fucking long because you could die during that fucking process, I don't think it shouldn't be 10 years. 5, I can understand. To get through the paperwork, to do all the tests you're supposed to do, make the citizenship test a fucking hell of a lot easier. Because I tried taking it. I can't fucking pass it. And I'm a fucking history buff. I can't fucking pass this goddamn thing. But if you earn it and you actually work towards it and you wait and you think about that future day 5 years from now, right? Where you're like, oh my God, I can't wait till this is over because I'm going to be a U.S. citizen. If you want it that bad, you're going to do what you need to do legally to make it happen. You don't start on bad terms by doing it illegally right off the bat, because me as a U.S. citizen looks at that and go, oh, well, if you're not willing to come here legally and you're going to break the law getting in here, that makes me think you're going to break the law once you're here. You know what I mean? Like, why should I believe any different? But I do think it needs to be less. They need to change the citizenship test. But it's one of those things where I feel like it means more to you once you wait long enough and you actually go through the process and you get it after a more extended amount of time.
Well, see, I agree with Jay Newton here. If most U.S. citizens can't pass that citizenship test, then why make people who live 40 years in another country take the test? It seems weird. I full-heartedly agree. I think some American history should be known, so that way people understand what people of this country went through to build this country and make it what it was.
Founded on,
but
yeah.
I think another mentality that needs to be added to the citizenship, not only of people coming to this country, but people living in this country. We like to call America the melting pot.
Yeah.
Right. We all like to call that it's a melting pot. We're an immersion of different cultures together. It's absolutely true. We have people of European descent, we have people of African descent, we have people of Asian descent, and we have people of Arab descent, and so on and so forth. But the major thing that's missing is the idea that the melting pot is that we have to respect all these other cultures, which I do. I'm not trying to take away from those cultures.
Oh yeah, I love Chinese.
I think we're missing the fact that the true idea of melting pot is melting things together into one culture, and that culture is an American culture.
Yep.
We need to stop emphasizing so much on being Mexican descent, African descent, European descent, and be American.
Yep.
Plain and simple. We are. It doesn't matter of our skin color or what our ancestry was. We're all Americans.
Yeah. Jay Newton just said, I agree that people generally respect things more that they earn or work for, but you want the things you work for to actually be achievable. It is achievable. People become legal citizens every day. You know, it is achievable. Granted, it's a 10-year wait, but it is achievable. Even at 5 years, that would make it twice as achievable. You know, if there was nobody, if we had zero legal immigrants, then yeah, I get it. It's unachievable. We need to change it. But it is achievable, you know, and you see these videos all the time of, legal immigrants, people from Mexico that came and did everything they were supposed to legally do, everything, and they go and they stand up for these immigration laws saying, if I can do it legally, they can do it legally. You've got actual legal immigrants coming out saying, if I can do it, they can do it.
Agrodad Gaming says, I think people who want to come here to work, make it easier. Let them come here, register, and get a work visa. They are willing to do a lot of work lazy Americans won't do. That is absolutely true.
That's very true.
Let them come here and work if they want to. Let them show they can contribute and pay taxes and not break the law. This way we can track them and know who is here, and if they break the law, they're out.
Yeah.
It seems so simple. It
looks good on paper.
No, it's not just it looks good on paper. That is common sense immigration.
But it's simple in theory,
at least for work visa. Maybe not so much for citizenship,
right?
But for at least work visa, that's the simple way.
Yep.
That really is. Come here, pay taxes, show that you're a good citizen, and even more so, maybe that could help vex out some of the citizenship. Maybe like in the military back in the day. The military was you had to serve at minimum 2 years of active duty, followed by 2 years of reservists, right? Okay. What if we did the exact same thing with immigration, where people who wanted to come to this country, well, first you got to do a year of just work visa. You're here on a probationary period. You have 1 year to prove to us that you're worth our time of going through the process of citizenship.
Yeah. A year really isn't that long. Like, you think a year, you're like, oh God, a fucking year? You and I are nerds. We always like, oh God, we're still a year away from the next Star Wars movie. Guess what? It comes up before you fucking know it. A year goes by like that. Days are long, years are fast. That's just the way it goes. A year seems daunting, but it's not. It's 12 fucking months. It'll be over before you know it.
See, Agrodad just literally agreed with what I just said. Start with the work visa and earn citizenship. Mm-hmm. I think it should be merit based. I think a work visa could be merit based towards citizenship.
Yep.
You've been here a year working, you paid your taxes, you didn't commit any crimes, you got along with your neighbors and everything else. You're showing that you have what it takes to be an American citizen. Yep. We'll move forward in the process. Yep. That makes sense to me.
Yeah,
I think that very much vexes out those who would be contributing members to our society and those who would be a detriment to our society.
I would welcome them with open arms,
But we are reaching the end of this episode, guys. I hate cutting it because I think we're having like a really great dialogue.
Really good, yeah.
I want to thank both Jay Newton and Agrodad Gaming, especially because you guys brought up a lot of good stuff. I'm glad you got our point of view, and I'm really happy we had this conversation.
Yeah.
But guys, stay tuned because later on we are going to be doing the Order 69 with the guys from the Cocky Cockpit on PS4, the Battlefront 2 gameplay, as we always do. Thank you very much. If you haven't followed us, please do. We're on every Thursday, and of course,
and keep in mind though, it's not before you take off. We're not just politics. This
No,
was something
God,
that was
no.
completely out of the blue. Usually we're talking games, movies, music, I mean, all kinds of stuff. It's just and nerd stuff. We nerd out Star Wars. Oh my God, Star Wars.
Oh, I
Wars.
just found out.
But
I just found out Cocky Cockpit's out of town. They are not doing it this week.
Well, we'll
That's
still
fine.
play
Brian and I
Battlefront.
will.
Yeah, fuck yeah. I feel like stealing some kills. So, but no, this is just an out of the blue thing where Chris had something happen to him earlier this week with a Facebook jail thing, and he wanted to vent. This is a great way to do it. But usually we talk a lot of comics and stuff like that. So I just want to throw that out there real quick. Just that way you're not going to get political every week. I just wanted to let you know.
Absolutely, Agrodad. I'll definitely send you an invite.
Yeah.
We'll shoot for about 10:30. 10:30, and I'll send that invite in. We'll get this all started up. So make sure you're sticking around for that, guys. Also, thank you very much for hanging out with us. For YouTube, if you like this video in any capacity, please hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe if you haven't done so already. Check out all the great Let's Plays on Press A Gaming, as well as all the great podcasts from Realm Limits Entertainment. RadioCastFM.com. Thank you very much for putting up with us. I'm pretty sure we got canceled after all the
Probably did.
vulgar language after that. But if you guys enjoy this in any capacity, please make sure you're checking out all the other great shows on RadioCastFM.com. I appreciate that, man. I love that you guys love this show. We really try to give you the best that we can give. Also, remember, this coming weekend, the triumphant return of the Star Wars Canon podcast.
Yeah.
Brian, why don't you tell them all about it?
All right, so I have a YouTube channel called the Star Wars Canon Library. What we do is we keep all the new Star Wars canon material, the Disney canon. We keep all of that in chronological order. We review all of it. Me and Chris just nerd out talking about all kinds of shit. But the podcast has been on a bit of a break. We are returning this Saturday with episode 4 of the Star Wars Canon podcast. We're going to be bringing that back full force. But this Friday, for the Facebook page for Star Wars Canon Library, make sure to head over and hit a follow there because we're doing a live Q&A this Friday night starting at 7 o'clock Central Standard Time. We're going to be answering all of your Star Wars canon questions, Star Wars questions, anything at all you want to ask us. And we're going to be giving away a hardback copy of Thrawn Alliances. So make sure to check that out. It's going to be a lot of fun. And it's like you said, it's a big triumphant return. I'm dreading it, though. I shouldn't say I'm dreading it. I'm getting anxious because I've been on this 3-month break, and now I'm like, oh, Jesus, here we go. It's time to spend my Friday nights editing again. Oh, this is going to be great. So I'm excited, though. I can't wait to do it. We have a lot to catch up on. We have so much Star Wars stuff to catch up on. But make sure to check out that YouTube channel. It is a subsidiary of Realm of the Mist Entertainment. Chris is my co-host on the Star Wars Canon podcast. Make sure to visit the website. It is StarWarsCanonLibrary.com. You can find the whole timeline there. Clone Wars chronological list, cover art of every single issue of the comics so far, every novel cover, every film poster. I'm still updating it. There's a lot coming out. I've got to get on there. So we're updating all that. And make sure to visit the Patreon. I'd sure appreciate some love there. So I think that's about it.
No, there's one other thing to announce.
What's that?
Recently, we did an interview with Janice Liddell on War of the Stars, the Star Wars podcast. Yeah. And Janice is one of the co-authors of the book Star Wars in History, which is actually out of print. It is no longer in production. Lucasfilm is no longer putting it out there. Ooh. However, Janice has graciously offered us a couple copies of the book that we are going to be putting out very, very soon as a donation thing, a charity donation thing. We are discussing it benefiting 100%, all proceeds, 120,000% to the Wounded Warrior Project. So, guys, stay tuned for that. We'll give you all the official rules and everything for it.
Sorry, go ahead. Sorry, it's because we got so much going on at once. You said that. Also, very soon, I'm going to be ordering military dog tags. You brought up the Wounded Warriors thing, and it reminded me. I'm going to be ordering military dog tags with the Star Wars Canon Library logo on them. And if you guys are interested, they're going to be $5 a piece. And I think they're like $1 a piece for me to buy them in bulk. But all I'm keeping is to pay for the dog tags, and the rest of I'm just keeping cost. To break even, and then the rest of the money is going to Wounded Warriors. So if you guys are interested in picking up one of those, I'll let you know when they go on sale, and you guys can pick one of those up and let me know.
And let's not forget, too, that coming the holiday season, we haven't discussed what we're going to do with it yet, but we will be doing another thing that will benefit the Toys for Tots program. So, guys, make sure you keep an eye out for that as well. And also, I will throw out there that Mr. AgroDad Gaming, make sure on Twitch you go over to his channel. He does a charitable thing for the Children's Miracle Network, I believe it is, if I'm not mistaken. Another great charity. Guys, go visit him, send a donation his way, help him out because he's doing some awesome work over there.
Hell yeah.
Guys, thank you very much for hanging out with us. I will catch you on the next Breaking the Fourth Wall. Have a good night, guys.
Have a good one, everybody.